it's Mena. Welcome back to my channel, or if this is the very first video that you're seeing of me, then welcome to my channel. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button down below if you didn't already. I post every day except for Tuesday and Friday afternoon sometimes, and today in this video, I'm going to go over my top 10 mistakes I've made when working at a job, also known as mistakes you should avoid while working at a job. So I wanted to make a helpful video for when you're getting a job and the mistakes you should avoid making. And these are mistakes that I've made, and I do want to clarify, I did not make these mistakes all the time. I only made them sometimes because either it was my first day of the job, I didn't know, or it was my first week of the job and I didn't know, or sometimes these just mistakes randomly happen. And the best thing you can do is just try your best to avoid them, because you don't want to make too many mistakes at a job, or else they can see that you're not very reliable and you'll end up getting fired. So I wanted to make this video to be helpful and so you guys can avoid these mistakes. And like I said, it's okay if you make them once, but don't make them all the time, or else you're going to get in trouble at work. So I'm going to get started. So number one on my list would have to be emptying the garbage in the wrong trash can. So I have a full story about this, which I'll link down below if you didn't see. My coworker asked me to empty the trash one time, and this was like my second week of the job, and I wasn't paying attention to which garbage can I dumped it in, and I accidentally dumped it into Subway's garbage can. And which was not really a good thing, because they were not too happy about it, because I think their trash was really full and it was just really gross and everything, and they just didn't have enough room because they had so much garbage in their can for I think about a week or so. Oh, and it was very messy, but I just didn't know we had separate trash cans from Subway. So the next time I emptied the trash, I always made sure I emptied it in my work's garbage from now on. And like I said, I do have a full story about how I made this mistake, and I will link it down below if you didn't see. Number two on my list should be giving the customer the wrong sandwich, and this was at my first job. Oh, I forgot to mention that that was at my first job as well. So this was only because I don't have a very good memory, and I couldn't remember what the name of the person was. And one time I was asked to help run sandwiches out because we were short in the kitchen, and I went to go give a sandwich and I couldn't remember who it was for, and I forgot to go back to the kitchen and ask the employee that I was working with. So I gave a sandwich to the person, and it turned out I gave them the wrong sandwich, and they weren't too happy about my work wasn't too happy about it, but luckily they were super nice about it, and they said, maybe next time, why don't you start taking a ticket so you can remember who it's for? And I thought that was a really good idea, because I found that super helpful, and it just made not only my job easier, but my coworker's job easier as well. Well, so after that, I started taking like the tickets with the customer's name on for the sandwiches they ordered. Number three on my list would have to be accidentally having a customer drop their sandwich. And this was my first job, and this was only because I thought they had a hold of their sandwich really well, and they didn't grab it very well, and it ended up dropping on the floor. But luckily they didn't get mad at me for it. They knew it was their fault, and they were very apologetic, and I was able to go back to the kitchen and get them another sandwich, and they were very nice and everything. And I have a full story about how that happened, which I'll also link down below if you didn't see. Number four on my list would have to be forgetting to collect my tips, and this was from my first job. So I would forget to collect my tips because I didn't know when we would be doing tips and stuff. I thought they were every couple weeks, but then they would tell me your tip thing is getting full, your tip thing is getting full, and I would have so many tips from working at my job and everything, from all my hours at work and everything, and I would forget to collect my tips after work, and I thought the tips would come randomly, so I didn't really understand how tips worked at the job I had, and I would forget to collect them, and my envelope would be super full, and then I would have them remind me constantly to grab my tips, which I kind of felt bad about, but honestly, I never understood how tips worked in the restaurant I worked at the time. So good tip, if you're waitressing or working in a restaurant, always make sure you collect your tips every week. Number 5 on my list would have to be helping a customer fill a bottle without weighing it out. So this is at the job I have now. So one day I saw this customer working, and there was this customer asking me to help them weigh out a bottle, and my coworker was busy on the floor, and she was working with another customer, and I didn't want to be rude and interrupt her, so I decided to help the customer, but I made a mistake, and I went to go take them over to what they needed to refill, and I accidentally forgot to take them over to the scale that we have for weighing the bottles out, and I forgot to have them weigh the bottle out, so I accidentally took them over to the product they needed to refill, and they started refilling it, and I accidentally did it. My coworker's like, wait. I was like, you're supposed to weigh the bottle out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. But they were really nice about it, and they said that's okay. Next time you want to help them refill something, make sure you take them over to the scale and have them weigh the bottle out. And I just totally forgot all about it. I don't know why, it just slipped my mind. But luckily I remembered for the next time. Number 6 on my list would have to be accidentally breaking a glass bowl, and this was at my job I have now. So one day I was washing a bunch of dishes in the sink, and no, I was washing the giant jars that we keep all the product in, and I was washing one, and I was trying to get the brush out, and I forgot to empty the bottom of the sink out, and I lost my grip for a second, and I accidentally caused the giant jug to break a glass bowl at the bottom, and I felt really bad. My coworker was not too happy about it, but she knew I didn't do it on purpose, and they were really nice. And she was like, next time, maybe why don't we start having you clean the sink out before you start cleaning the giant jugs, because we can't break any glass bowls and stuff. And I felt really bad, but luckily I told somebody about it, and I just felt really, really bad about breaking the bowl, but luckily they were really nice. So I did come up with a new solution for that, is to always make sure the bottom of the sink is completely empty before I start washing the giant jugs, so then I don't break anything. Number 7 on my list would have to be chipping a cup. So this was one day I was washing a mug we had at work. It was like a big black mug, and it was one of the matching mugs we had for our lattes. And as I was washing it, I accidentally hit it against the sink, and it chipped a bit. And my coworker saw me do it, and she's like, what happened? Uh-oh. And I said, this chipped a little bit. And she was really nice. So we showed it to my boss, and I told him, really sorry about that. I'm not sure why that happened, blah, blah, blah. And he was really nice about it, but sadly they had to throw the cup away, even though it was a little chip. And I definitely learned to kind of like be careful when you're washing dishes so it doesn't bang against anything. And I think what happened was it banged against the edge of the sink and it chipped a bit. So always just be careful when you're washing some mugs because they can get quite expensive. And you have to be careful not to chip them because that's for food safety. I forgot to mention that chipping the mug was at my first job. Number 8 on my list would have to be cleaning around the customers, and that was my first job. So one day I was asked to dust everything in the restaurant. I was dusting everything, and I was dusting all around the entire restaurant, and I accidentally was not paying attention to my surroundings, and I accidentally dusted around all the customers in the restaurant, and my coworker stopped me, and he was like, maybe you should be careful when you're dusting because you don't want to be dusting around all the customers because that's not really a good thing to do. It just bothers the customers. And I said, oops, but luckily he was super nice about it when I was dusting the restaurant. Number 8 on my list number 9, excuse me, I am on number 9. So number 9 on my list would be not cleaning up my station. So this was just an accident because by the time I get like a bunch of stuff done, it'd be time for me to go, but then I'd forget all about making sure my station is clean before I leave because that's not really a good thing. It's never good to have your station a mess before you leave. It's not really fair to your work, and it's not fair to your coworkers because then they have to clean up after you. And that was just a mistake because I just forgot to check my station to see if it was messy. And luckily I am getting much better at making sure my stations are clean. I was really good at keeping my station clean at my first job whenever I was done, and as well as my second job that I have now, to make sure that no product is all over everything, and all my brushes are clean and everything. I always make sure, as well as my dish rack for washing the dishes, is clean. So you should always, like, when you're done with your shift, you should make sure all your stuff is clean before you move on to the next thing. Number 10 on my list would have to be wasting towels, and this was for my first job. So I had a really bad habit of going through so many towels because I'd use them either to dry my hands, I'd use them to dry the dishes, which was on and off. I would use them for cleaning the tables. I would use them for cleaning the mirrors. I would just go through towels like crazy because I had a bad habit of switching towels once one was dirty, and then once it had like a lot of product on it, and then I'd forget to keep like only a few towels and not use too many. And that was because I would just try, once one towel had one product on it, I would switch to a different towel so I wouldn't have like the same product over and over again because I felt like it wouldn't get clean when it had too much product on it. But luckily I did learn to limit my towels, and I did come up with a rule for myself to only use 2 to 3 towels per shift. Okay, so those are my top 10 mistakes I've made at work / mistakes you should avoid at work. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I post every day except for Tuesday and Friday afternoon sometimes, and I hope you learned how to avoid these mistakes at work. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I post every day except for Tuesday and Friday afternoon sometimes, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye!